thoughts on this? Should Donald Trump be allowed to address Parliament on his state visit? Maybe in Westminster Hall. The President will be hosted by King Charles from the 17th to the 19th of September, when Parliament will be in recess. No formal request for him to make a speech has been made yet, but if it happens, he wouldn't be the first president to make an address. Barack Obama did in Westminster Hall. Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan did elsewhere. Only Obama did it right at the centre of Parliament. Let's have a look. It's a very special place, this, OK? Westminster Hall, which is part of what they call the Palace of Westminster here. If you want to find the hall itself, you need to look round the back. So let's just turn the building, if we can, and look at it from Westminster Bridge, from the street. And that is Westminster Hall there, and it's nearly 1,000 years old. Isn't it amazing? This roof is called hammer beam truss design, yeah? So
that is a disgrace.
Yeah, no, it's not you. The hammer beam truss is a kind of unsupported roof. For a long time, it was the biggest unsupported oak roof in Europe. Here is the king who built the hall, William Rufus, 1097. The roof wasn't put on, actually, until about 3 centuries after him, when this king, Richard II, ascended to the throne in 1393. He got them to do this astonishing roof, which is still there today. It's amazing. And then the hall itself was used for the trial of Guy Fawkes, 1535, and the trial of Thomas More, 1606, and also Charles I. All of them, by the way, convicted and executed. Charles I beheaded just outside. Then you have the fire. The whole of Parliament, except for the hall, burns down, 1834. Pugin, basically a souped-up interior designer, and Barry, an architect, redesigned Parliament, but still the hall stands. It survived the fire. Isn't that incredible? With all of its amazing history. And it has been used in the past, by the way, for actual debates and so on. I would say, really, if you have any chance just in the 21st century to become one of these people, just walk around, visit your MP, whatever, please do it. It will take your breath away. So yes, there were times when it was used like the House of Commons chamber, not very many. And Cromwell, who ran Britain for a time between our kings, was then beheaded. His head was put on the roof of Westminster Hall until it was blown off by a gust of wind. So there's a hell of a lot of history right here. We move to the present day. Who has been allowed to speak? The only American president is Obama. The others, Zelensky, Mandela, Aung San Suu Kyi, Pope Benedict, and Charles de Gaulle, the French leader. What an array of people who've been allowed to speak there. And the question is, should Trump? One more thing, it is a sort of sacred place. You remember when Beckham queued and so on for the Queen's lying in state? There she was, 2022, her, what they called catafalque. George VI, the same, 52. Edward VII was here again, 1910, after their deaths. Churchill in 1965 lay in state in Westminster Hall, and the Queen Mother in 2002. So it's sacred in a way. And you know what, Ben? They could get Trump in there because they could get the MPs and the Lords back.
They could if they wanted, and the fact that they've invited him outside of the time that Parliament is sitting, which is most of the year, clearly suggests that they don't want to because they know it would be an almighty row. And for good reason, Jeremy, because you use the word sacred. It is a sacred place. It's one of the most significant places in the history of this country. It's an enormous honour and a privilege to be invited to speak there and address both houses of Parliament, an honour that's given to the likes of Mandela and the Pope and these big sort of global leaders and statesmen. I have yet to hear any good reason whatsoever why Donald Trump should be given the honour of being the latest name on that list.
Lynn.
Well, that's all very well and good and understandable, but we have to bring things to the real world where we need to look at finances, economy, tariffs. And as we've seen recently, Trump has decided to impose a 30% tariff on the EU starting from the 1st of August, which he has not done to the UK. In that conversation where he was cordially invited and he was really excited to be invited here, I think a lot of that is down to the whole our tariffs not being replicated or mirroring the EU is because of that. So I don't think we should run and jump and invite him, but if he makes the stand that he would like to, I don't think we should shun him purely based on an economic view.
Well, the thought is that he will work out that they have deliberately not invited him at a time.
Know.
No, his people, they're so alive to slights Look at the trouble
Why
David
would he have
Lammy's
given?
had.
But he would have had to. They would have had to share calendars, so he would have also presented his availability. And I'm sure his team are big enough to know when or thereabouts Parliament isn't sitting.
But would you not, if you had control of it, say to the MPs, stay on for 2 days, give him Westminster Hall, because then we can maybe get the tariffs down to zero?
Well, look, the House of Lords is sitting. Maybe give him the option for the House of Lords. I think.
I'm sorry.
Okay, but then
there's a limit on the sycophancy that this government.
Is this just because you don't like? Is that just because you don't like Trump?
This is. We've got to stop pretending that Donald Trump is an ally of the United Kingdom. This is a man who's, as you say, already whacked us with massive tariffs, who's threatened to invade our allies,
Not really
who has
massive.
undermined everything that 10%. You try and saying that to British.
I'm saying when you look at the others,
who has undermined what our governments, consecutive governments, have been doing in Ukraine, who's repeatedly talked about Britain as a country that doesn't have free speech and has interfered over and over again in our democracy. This man is not a friend.
Let's talk to Kate Osborne. Kate is a Labour MP who wrote to the Speaker of the Commons asking him to stop Trump addressing Parliament. And I guess you don't want there to be any question of MPs being brought back for an address, Kate.
Good morning, Jeremy. Thanks so much for inviting me on. No, absolutely not. Look, we know that Trump, as I think Ben's just said, he isn't really a friend of the UK. Yes, we have to deal with him. Yes, we have to speak to him about trade deals, etc. But we also know that Trump is a morally deficient man. He's a convicted felon who thinks that he's above the law, that he can treat people with contempt, from the way he speaks about women to the way that he speaks to elected leaders of other countries. He's a misogynist, he's a xenophobe, and he doesn't deserve the privilege of speaking to Parliament, whether that be, in my opinion, to the House of Lords or to those of us in the Commons. And I'm really pleased that our campaign seems to have succeeded and he won't be given that privilege or that opportunity.
So do you think it's deliberate then, Kate, that they've chosen a date where this might almost not be an issue?
Well, I certainly think it seems fortuitous. I think it may have been their way of dealing with it. So, yeah, I mean, I think they know that he may not be or received well by MPs, by actually the majority of the UK, who I think don't have a great love or maybe even a liking for the man.
Stay with us for a second, Kate. We just got Grace in London who's calling in. Grace, what do you think?
I am not enough of an expert on parliamentary goings-on, but I think that on balance, in today's context, and given things about Trump, it would probably be better for him not to be given this additional platform. He's got plenty of platforms and opportunities to share his thoughts with the world already. And I'm particularly concerned about the misinformation that he has spread around the world. I mean, in particular for me, I'm concerned about his inaccuracies about climate change, which is affecting all of humanity, and about overseas aid, which he's lied about, and people are going to die because of that. And as your guest mentioned a moment ago, she mentioned the word moral. And Trump, oddly, he tries to appropriate God. He says that God saved him to make America great again, and yet he entirely flouts the moral guidelines that God has given us. So I am very worried by how he is implying to listeners all across the globe that selfishness is good, that egotism is good.
What about Emmanuel Macron? Whether people like it or not, immigration is a huge issue, and the British public really want something to be done about it. We did a deal, north of 400 million, and he hasn't done much to stop the boats. Yet we allowed him to speak not only in front of the MPs, but the House of Lords as well. So,
Kate, can you answer that?
I didn't quite catch that. My microphone's playing up.
No, not at all. Kate,
sorry, my speaker.
Not at all, Kate. Lynn May was just saying that, if we're going to be cross about Trump, why aren't we cross about Macron?
Macron isn't Trump. Look, Macron hasn't said some of the really worrying, hateful things that Trump has said. The hate that we hear from Trump and others spreading from the top, it gives credibility to those who are preaching hate, attacking women, attacking democracy, both across the US and within the UK.
Immigration is one of our biggest issues, as we've seen. But Emmanuel Macron hasn't done anything, even though we've paid France millions and millions.
He's not illegally deporting people.
But there's different. But surely, Kate's point is about Trump being a convicted felon and spreading misinformation. It's not about a bad policy.
What about the economy? What about trade deals? Whether we like it or not, the US voted this man in. They are our biggest trading ally.
That's the argument. Kate Osborne, MP, thank you so much. Go on, have the last word.
Saying that we shouldn't deal with him, that we don't need to speak to him. Of course we do. For me, this is about affording him the opportunity and the privilege to address either of the parliaments. And that is something that, to me, gives legitimacy to him and to what he has to say. And personally, I don't want to hear it.
Thank you, Kate, for joining us so much. After the break, we're taking more of your calls on whether Trump should address Parliament on his state visit if they can make it possible. What about Westminster Hall, which is quite an honour? There it is. Also, whether Mr. Trump should address Parliament on his state visit. 0207 862 2222. Shelley in Newcastle, what do you think?
Yeah, I wasn't going to phone in till I seen the Labour MP trying to stop him. They wonder why this freedom of speech is getting quashed in the country and colleges. He should be allowed to speak. They've had the likes of the Chinese Prime Minister there. Starmer started this in the first place by crawling to give him to come over here. Macron, I don't agree with him at all, but he's the right to speak to them. It's the same as he's the leader of the free world, whether you agree with him or not, should be allowed to speak, because there's a lot of other people that would like to hear from him.
Yeah, well,
I think it's a disgrace. Does he not think that people are going to see
Lynn
what
is
they're
giving
doing?
you think she's right?
Yes.
You don't think she's right, Ben?
I completely agree.
He's the President of the United States. He's not being silenced. He's not being locked in a basement and kept away from the media.
I don't know whether he's the leader of the state. The thing is, I'm not sure whether he's the leader of the free world anymore, Shelley. And the reason I say that is, if he was the leader of the free world, wouldn't he be sending more weapons to Ukraine?
Well, apparently that's what he's doing. But can I just say, his people see everything that's happening. Now, that lady, the MP, does he not think they're going to see what's happening there? He could come down hard on this country by what they're doing now. And Starmer's trying to creep to him for a trade deal.
Let Ben respond.
He's been invited for an unprecedented second state visit. Never happened before to any other US president. He's going to meet the king. There's going to be a state banquet. He'll do a joint press conference with the Prime Minister. We are literally rolling out the red carpet. The idea that just because he doesn't stand up in Parliament and give a speech for half an hour is a massive snub, it's just not.
No, but Shelley's right. OK, let's say we all don't like Trump. We know that he's volatile. If he does feel shunned, he may whack us with 40, 50% tariffs. Then what?
Well,
yes, we have
to give him everything he wants.
We know how it works. We talked about Vietnam. Vietnam got hit by 40%. They got through the White House, said, what can we do?
Yes, we do unfortunately have to pander.
And do you know what the White House said? If you let the Trumps build a massive golf course, we'll let you off. And literally, Donald Trump Jr.
You give him an inch, he will take him off.
No,
but also, this is a man.
We're not Great Britain anymore. We need America.
Give him a golf course.
This is a man who respects Vladimir Putin, I think, more than he respects Keir Starmer.
OK, but this is all hurty words.
Strength, not weakness,
he's a misogynist. He said hurty words. What about the economy? What about trade?
Lynn, if the government does what you want them to do, it screams weakness. There's one thing that Trump hates. It's weakness. We have to project strength, mutual respect. He needs us, we need him. That's the basis of the relationship.
So you think he'll respect us for shunning him?
He likes kings because, in a way, he thinks he is one. Let's remember that. And not countries. A lot of countries don't have a king. Thank you, Shelley. John in Buckinghamshire. Should we clear out Westminster Hall and let him speak in there?
No, I don't think he should be allowed to speak at all. I can't understand some of the power as much as he has. 6 times.
We're losing you, John. Just try and hold the phone near your mouth.
Bankrupt 6 times. He's been indicted, say, four times possibly. He's released, he's paroled people that attacked the White House. I just don't understand where you get respect for someone like that.
He's elected.
I mean, if it
It
was,
doesn't.
if
You
it
know
was
what? In
private,
the end, he
wouldn't
won
employ that
the
person.
vote, John. He won the vote.
But then, but does that mean that we, as a country, have got to kowtow to them? That's their president, not ours.
Look, at least he
They can
hasn't
have
got dementia.
Isn't that freedom of speech, though, to say, OK, these are our allies. We may not like a lot of the words, but we have to give the platform for them to speak while they are the elected
A minute
leader.
ago, you were saying Emmanuel Macron should have been given that platform. He's more of an ally than Trump is.
No, I don't mind him having that platform, but we can't pick and choose. The British public are very angry with France at the moment because we've given millions and they're not stopping the boats.
He's more popular than Trump.
I doubt that very much.
I'd really love to see that survey,
I doubt that
actually.
very much.
I don't know. Ron is in South Lanarkshire. Ron, what would you like to say?
Well, morning, Jeremy. Morning, panel.
Morning.
Do you know, I'm a 90-year-old pensioner. I've never seen politics, worldwide politics, in such a state in all of my life. All I want to say is he was voted in as president of the United States. And I think we should show him some sort of courtesy in this country. I listen to politicians in this country that I don't agree with, but I like to know how they're thinking and how they're feeling toward the voters.
Remember, when he lost, when he lost an election, he said the result didn't count. So he doesn't necessarily respect elections unless he wins them.
No, well, that's right. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of what he has done and said, but as I say, I still want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a good speech. It could be a good speech,
Or
Ben.
he could make himself look like a complete fool, which could help.
In political history.
Because he can't
The man
follow a
can't
script.
Finish a sentence.
He can't
complete a paragraph.
He won't
Doesn't
follow a
matter.
script.
He's still
That's the thing.
elected. I don't agree with many things. I actually don't like Trump at the moment. But the point is, it may go in your favour where the US citizens look at him and he makes an absolute idiot of himself, but give him the platform. We shouldn't stop and pick and choose who we like from our allies.
Let's see what Tony in Hampshire thinks. Tony?
Yeah, hi.
Would you,
I mean,
would you have him in Westminster Hall?
Well, look, this is a guy that is pretty much mashing up the Constitution, and the damage that he's doing in his own country. So he doesn't even respect, as we know, that the instigating the mob to march on the Capitol. What respect at all will he have for Parliament? I mean, we all know that we're doing a dance with Trump, and I think that what concerns me also is that I've not heard one conservative or certainly not reform or criticise anything that he has done. And thank you, Ben, for highlighting just the complete immoral and unethical.
What's the worst thing he's done, Tony? Because there's a long list that people give. What do you think is the worst?
What's the worst thing he's done?
Yeah.
Well, I would say the whipping up the mob to march on the Capitol. Let's not forget, people died during that. It's not a joke. It's not spitting image.
This is
a
5 years
guy.
ago now, but yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
No, okay.
I'm a
can't
conservative
put that on
and I
him.
criticise him. I
You
criticise
can't
him.
put that on him. Sorry, Lynn. He described those mobsters, those rioters, as good people. You can absolutely put that on him.
I think there's always going to be a few bad apples when it comes to a protest or things.
Who hasn't raided an
you
elected
can't put
parliament?
the
We've all been there.
People have to have
He
agency
cleared
for
them
their
all.
own actions.
He cleared them. That's the funny thing about him. When they had a conversation about we can't clear people, pardon people who've hit police officers.
Insurrection.
Yeah, I don't
And
agree with
in the end, he said, "Let's
even
just-
recently,
let's
like
do
I
all
said,
of them."
I disagree with a lot of things
All
he
right.
said.
Well, it's an interesting one whether they might just give him a big platform like Westminster Hall when he comes. Thank you for your calls on this. Later, we'll be asking whether men should shave their armpits because Lynn thinks that we should. Is that ridiculous? After the break, we'll ask whether the measles vaccine should be made compulsory after a child died in Liverpool this weekend. 020 7862 2222. See you in a moment.